So hello and welcome. My name is Kevin and I'm a member of Queer Amnesty Karlsruhe. Queer Amnesty is a subgroup of Amnesty International that fights for LGBTQ human rights worldwide. And today I am with Yasemin of KAOS GL Turkey. Welcome, Yasemin.
Thanks for having me here.
A pleasure. Yasemin, first of all, can you present yourself and your organization, KAOS GL, and also describe a bit the work that you do?
Sure. So I'm Yasemin. I've been in LGBT activism for 10 years. KAOS GL specifically is an organization in Turkey for LGBTI rights and resources that has been founded in 1994. So it's the oldest one, oldest official NGO in Turkey for LGBT rights. And we have many different functions. We have 5 main programs that we work through. One of them is human rights, one of them is refugee LGBTI rights, the other is like media, others like cultural, academic studies. So we have different fields that we work in and on because we feel like the gap that we need to fill is small in the country. And I specifically, because we are luckily starting to somewhat grow, I am now the monitoring and evaluation officer for the past 1.5 years of KAOS GL to have a better track of all these programs and see them all together at once, I guess.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. So could you describe a bit what these programs are? For example, the refugee program?
Sure. So refugee program was separated or founded as separate to the human rights program less than 10 years ago because of the increasing need. And the program, the main function is that they still during the pandemic go to different cities in Turkey and provide judiciary counseling and also social counseling, psychosocial counseling. Though I think that's one of our main work, but we also have face-to-face meetings, and we also do phone and email counseling to people who can't come or can't, use certain communication. So if you're worried and you can't use your voice, we won't meet over Zoom, Skype, or the phone, but we can email, etc. And our human rights program is even more complex, I guess. We have, because it's been there since the beginning pretty much, and we do a lot of different things. The main activities we can do, and that may be interesting to you, is we have annual reports, one on like the human rights situation of LGBTI people in Turkey, another one on hate crimes on LGBTI individuals in Turkey, and also media monitoring report in Turkey for each year. I am not sure if the 2021 has, all of them have been translated into English, but some of them have, and the previous years have, at least for the previous few years. So I think that's really important because when I check the work of like great organizations like ILGA Europe, Amnesty International, usually they find it difficult to find data from Turkey, but we try to fix that or fill that gap. We still do a lot of like activism. Our human rights program, for example, has specific cases that they fight because you have to use all of like the internal options in the judiciary system before you can go to like the International Human Rights Court. So we have cases that have been going on for about my age, like 27 years.
Wow.
And we also want to fight against like human rights issues by both showing that there are issues and also providing resources to LGBTI people, whether it be counseling, but also digital resources, etc., or information which they can use. the media program, like part of its job is very difficult because they do like daily and weekly and yearly like scans of all the hate speech that is published by like written and digital media. But other part of it is like providing like op-eds or like, you know, caricatures, drawings to that are in like LGBTI topics to provide like that safe space. We also have a monthly newsletter that we publish and also provide digitally, that I think helps that as well, because that has both like information but also like more fun social aspects.
Now you touched already on the monitoring work that you do, monitoring of the media, of society. What or how would you describe the overall situation of queer people in Turkey and of queer youth and queer young people in particular?
Not great. It is worsening. I think since 2015 and maybe even kind of started in 2014, and we don't have any, I guess, spaces that are left that we can even be openly LGBTI, not like having LGBTI PDA, just being a person in public and people knowing you're an LGBTI plus person, except for some underground places. And I mean, the pandemic hasn't helped with that, but it was already not great. We also see that each year the hate speech both by the government and like the governing party and the news outlets that are controlled or helped by that governing party, the number of like hate speech gets worse. The number of hate crimes or any violence and torture is increasing since like 2015 significantly. And also there's still the same policy of impunity where people know that if they do anything to an LGBTI person, 99% they feel like nothing will happen to them because that person was an LGBTI person or a sex worker or etc. So we're trying to fight that as well to make sure that there are at least some consequences such that other people don't feel so comfortable you know, and doing violent acts, hate crimes, because if people know that they won't get any like punishment consequences in the legal system, and that even the government and some news outlets are backing them, it really doesn't help. Yeah, I think those are the main issues. So we have our like human rights reports looks at different, like I think 23 different fields from like education, work, like health services, etc. And I don't think I can tell you one of any of the whole 23 that has increased in the last year or years. So in all the areas, our human rights and hate crime situations have gotten worse in the last year. And I guess, I mean, one example is people were getting detained for attending Pride. Now, for example, people are getting detained and even like have cases against them for carrying any Pride or like trans flag, intersex flag, whatever. Just carrying, like in another march that the government has allowed in public, etc. Like they come to you and say, your mask is rainbow, take that. Or they also like ban books for like 0 to 18 or put like disclaimers on them and like put brown paper on them. But they're like teen or preteen books that are like very basic and that they don't have any graphic like sexual content. So yeah.
What kind of books are those? Can you tell a bit about that?
They're usually like teen, preteen, young adults, like books that involve some romantic relationship between like what the government would say same-sex people, but any of them, I guess, would be either banned or not allowed to be sold without a warning and to people under 18, even though that's the main target of the content. So they, even if it's like about school, like the whole thing is about, the book is about school, but there are 4 pages that talk about like a gay character. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and you've been very clear now that since 2014-15, things have been getting worse. Why do you think that is? That since 2015-14, do you have any explanation why since those 7-8 years things have been, the situation has been getting worse?
Yeah, I mean, my main explanation that I think can explain most of it is that the governing party keeps getting more and more power, and the public, the NGOs, and even other like opposing parties have less and less voices or breathing rooms, like, or actions. Like, we can't use the same judiciary like actions against people who like hate crime LGBTI people, because now they're like, you're an LGBTI person. I mean, this doesn't, it's not written anywhere, but that's what happens. You just get sent home. Yeah.
And what are the actual difficulties that you face in your work?
What I can think of is one thing that we get, the government or government organizations come much more often to us for like inspections that are supposed to be yearly, etc. And we kind of like, okay, again, you were here last month, sure. And it's kind of a scare tactic, but it has to now become a part of our job, because each time they ask questions, they want documents, and it just takes time, even if you're just giving documents, and you have to answer to them as well. That's one problem. The other problem is, as I said, we have limited, much more limited areas of like what we can do, how and where we can do activism, where we can fight for like LGBTI rights. Because some of the options that existed before are now not available. So what we have been, I think, doing, not just as KAOS GL, but all LGBTI activists and organizations, is be in not offensive, but like defensive, what you call, like just to keep things as is, even though it's pretty bad, but it keeps getting worse. So like the first goal is, okay, let's stop it from getting worse. We have to fight everything so that like it doesn't escalate, because what we've seen previous is that if you don't do anything about something, they feel much more comfortable to like take it to another level, more hateful level. I think that's and also the help that we can provide LGBTI people has decreased as well, not just our like area of work, which is all difficult. And we also have to think about what we can, or how we can write in our websites, official websites.
I see. And it seems that in recent months and years, with the economic crisis, inflation and everything, the support for Erdogan and his government and the AKP party has dropped, and I think it's as low as never before, although it's still pretty high, but it has dropped. Do you see any room for positive developments, any signs of hope with these developments, with Erdogan maybe getting weaker, that you as an LGBT organization could get stronger and get more support again?
Sure, and I don't want to paint a picture that's like darker than it is, but one thing that I guess is difficult is the whole reason that the state of emergency was declared, or we changed our system to a presidential system, is because Erdogan's popularity was decreasing. So he was like, I need more power now. So that's why it's difficult to say, oh, the popularity of AKP, which is the governing party, is decreasing, okay, it will be better. But I think LGBTI organizations, we have in time, with practice, gotten used to what we can do, finding creative solutions, working with each other from like different cities, different work areas. So I think we're learning, and now we're also learning how to function in like the pandemic that still somewhat affects our lives. So I have hope that we can be stronger, and we are stronger as LGBTI organizations. Like, for example, like student organizations are being active again, or new ones are trying to like open in universities, or like unofficial organizations, groups are being created through like I don't know, messaging apps. So there's still some communication and activism, and like the want and need to do something about the situation. And I think there's also hope, because at least in our country there's definitely a sense of community and help. So I think that gives me hope.
Okay.
So yeah, I think we have some hope, and I can't say for sure, but maybe in our report for like 2022 and 2022 and 3, we can say things got better this year, because we haven't been saying that for a long time, and we want to.
I definitely hope it's getting better. And could you, as a last question, direct us towards the ways in which we can support you, like people in other countries, in Germany in particular? How can we support your work?
So one thing we can't have is an open donation account and donations from people or organizations. It's 99% of the time not allowed. So if you're an official registered NGO, we cannot take donations in many cases. Sometimes though, if people like contact the organization itself, there are like some like few instances where we can, but we definitely cannot and aren't run by donations as well as any other NGOs in Turkey. What we can maybe, what you could do maybe is follow what's happening, not just in Turkey, but like in other countries other than Germany, and we can follow what's happening in Germany and other European Asian countries. And I think even that helps a lot somewhat. Yeah.
Okay, great. We will definitely show people your social media accounts and your websites and everything. I think it's partly in Turkish, partly in English, but also in Germany, many people speak Turkish. So we will definitely show people all your contact information. And yeah, I encourage you everyone to follow what's going on in Turkey. Yeah. So Yasemin, thank you very much. It's been a great and very, very nice insight into the work you do. I wish you all the best, and thank you very much. Bye.